Sports Talk. I'm Craig Koger.
And I'm Nick Bodkins.
We're going to get it started with breaking news. Jeff Fisher is out as Tennessee Titans head coach. What's your take on this move?
Well, actually, it's kind of a big surprising move. I thought, they came out at the beginning of the offseason and said, we're going to keep him. And they said they're going to get rid of Vince Young. And then yesterday they said that, they're going to part ties with Jeff Fisher. From what I've read and heard, that this was his last year anyway, and that they were going to bring him back for next season. It's his last season's contract. So if it's going to end next season, you might as well end it now and try to move forward. So here in Tennessee, I think right now it's kind of surprising because it seems like a lot of coaches have already been taken. Jeff Fisher, he could have got another head coaching job had they done this a few weeks earlier. He could have went to San Francisco or someplace else like that. And, Tennessee not going to go forward with this. They said they're still going to get rid of Vince Young, so now they're going to go forward here with a new coach and a new quarterback in Tennessee.
Yeah, this was a very big surprise whenever I heard this news come out. After, Tennessee said that Vince Young was not going to be their quarterback next year. It kind of seemed like they had plans for Jeff Fisher to stay, and now that they're going without Vince Young and without Jeff Fisher, it almost seems like it's kind of going to be a rebuild project here in Tennessee. From what we've heard, they say they're going to try to stay in organization to get their new head coach. But it'll be interesting to see, who their starting quarterback is and who their head coach is. But yeah, like you said, this was a huge surprise. Jeff Fisher is one of the best coaches in the football league, and like you said, there was a lot of coaching vacancies open. Jeff Fisher would have been a prime candidate for any one of those jobs. From what I heard today, Jeff Fisher said he's been tired and needs a break. He may not coach next year. There's rumors that he could take a broadcasting job, but he's a great head coach. I think he's back in the NFL. I don't think he's done.
Yeah, maybe not so much the 2011-2012 season, but 2011-10 season. Going the following season, definitely if you're a coach on the hot seat already, you got to watch out because any team would grab Jeff Fisher as their first choice. So maybe, like you said, not in this coming season, but the following season. So we'll see Jeff Fisher probably back in the NFL. He's one of the great coaches in the NFL. Took his team to the Super Bowl and has done a lot more and got a lot out of less talent than we've seen a lot of other coaches do.
All right, moving on. Center Pouncey for the Steelers has a broken ankle. It's doubtful for the Super Bowl. How big of an impact is this?
Well, they say this guy's really good, but you got 2 weeks to prepare. So, it doesn't really take 2 weeks for this guy that they're bringing in. It's pretty good. He did fumble the snap there in the AFC Championship game, which caused Pittsburgh to get a safety. But you got 2 weeks to prepare, so I think that, it's not like he's going to be rushed in. He's going to take a majority of the snaps. So it's not really that big a deal. It's a deal, but it's not that big a deal. Had it be playing this Sunday, I think it's a bigger deal. But the fact that it's next Sunday, it doesn't make such a big deal.
Yeah, like you said, luckily for the Steelers, they had 2 weeks to prepare. But they're going against the Green Bay Packers defense and the way that this defense blitzes and the pressure that they bring to the quarterback. I think this is going to be an issue to watch on Super Bowl Sunday. I think this could have an effect on pressure getting to Ben Roethlisberger. Then he's got to make plays out of something that's not there, and it could be a game changer. I think this is a pretty big deal.
All right, moving forward, Jimmy Fredette scores over 40 points again against San Diego State the other night, and they knocked down San Diego State from the unbeaten. How good is Jimmy Fredette? At the pro level, and how far can he take BYU into the tournament?
Well, there's no question that this kid is good. Right now, he's carrying this BYU team. But as for a pro status, we'll just have to see. I don't think he's the #1 overall draft pick at all. I do think he's a first rounder. I think he's a middle to late first round pick. But we'll see. We'll see how he finishes out. As for the tournament wise, I think BYU is a Sweet 16 team. I think they'll make the Sweet 16. Elite 8 is kind of a push because this whole team revolves around one guy, and whenever they come up against a good defense and a team that is going to put their focus and double team Jimmy Fredette on a consistent basis and make somebody else on this team beat him, I think that's going to be the weakness for BYU.
Yeah, you're kind of right. I think Jimmy Fredette right now is definitely the best player in college basketball. He's exciting to watch. Unfortunately, we don't get to watch him a lot because he's on the West Coast, so most of the time, their games are going on really, really late, and we don't catch him. But Jimmy Fredette, this guy it's lights out. Some team's gonna draft him. When you got range like he does, you got to guard this guy as soon as he gets off the bus because he can jack it up from anywhere. He can also get to the basket. A lot of people have compared him to Darren Williams, J.J. Redick or whatever. I think he's going to be a late first rounder. You're right. He's not going to be the first overall pick, but a team that needs a shooter, he could help any team in the NBA. Even right now, this guy is lights out. When it comes to long range or even getting to the basket, he's really well. As far as BYU, I think if they can continue winning, then they can get a 3 or 4 seed. You know, they can maybe get to the Sweet 16 to ride, maybe Elite 8. We've seen this happen before with these little smaller colleges. You know, last year we saw Gordon Hayward take that team, Butler, to the Final Four of the championship game. A few years ago we saw George Mason make it to the Final Four. And then a couple years ago also we saw Steph Curry get that team, make a nice run with Davidson. A sweet Elite 8 or Sweet 16 or so. So I think BYU with a guy like Jimmy Fredette who can pour it in, folks. You know, watch BYU. They can make a Elite 8, maybe. You know, definitely Sweet 16, Elite 8, maybe.
All right, and sticking in the NBA, we're gonna go ahead. It's almost the All-Star break. We're gonna give out our mid-season awards. Let's start with MVP. Who's your NBA MVP right now?
I like Derrick Rose. Just simple fact, I think he's carried the Bulls to the 2 or 3 seed right now in the East. He's done it without Boozer and Noah. You know, those two guys haven't really played together. It's either one's in or the other one's hurt. And he's really carried that team. He's shooting the ball well. He's getting to the rack. He's also playing great defense, and he's dishing the ball out to his teammates like Kyle Korver and a couple other guys. He's got the Bulls playing really well. And he's the first Chicago Bulls starter since Michael Jordan to be named to start the NBA All-Star game. So I like Derrick Rose as my MVP.
I'm going to go with Kevin Durant in the West. He's been carrying this Thunder team. He does have a good point guard in Russell Westbrook that's helping him out. They've got some good young talent there in Oklahoma City, but everything revolves around Kevin Durant. He's one of the best scorers in the league. He can play from inside all the way to outside. He can, drive the basket. He scores a lot of points. He's a very dynamic player. In my opinion, he's the best player in the league, and right now he's my MVP.
All right, Coach of the Year, who you got in this one?
I'm going to have to say Greg Popovich and what he's doing with the San Antonio Spurs. This team is always good. They're always kind of under the radar, but right now they're the best team in the league, and they're off to the best start they've ever been to in franchise history. This is the best start that the San Antonio Spurs have ever had. Greg Popovich, we know he's a great coach. He's kind of, everybody thinks, Phil Jackson's the best coach in the league because he's got the most rings. Greg Popovich is very underrated, and he's my coach of the year.
I'm going to give it to Doc Rivers. Just the simple fact that, Celtics, they've been hurt. It seems like every player's been down for a while. Kevin Garnett, they just getting Kendrick Perkins back, and he was out for the whole season until just a few weeks ago. And, he's got that team playing well. They were going to be right there, contending for the Eastern Championship. I like Doc Rivers, even though they got an array of talent there in Boston, but I still think it takes a good coach to put that talent all together and make it work.
All right, and moving on, who do you got for your Rookie of the Year?
I think it's hands down Blake Griffin. A little bit of John Wall, but obviously it's Blake Griffin. This guy's a monster. He's a double-double guy. You got to give it to Blake Griffin. Yeah, my preseason pick was John Wall to finish the year Rookie of the Year, but the way this has gone and the way Blake Griffin is playing, he's a double-double machine, and he doesn't look like a rookie out there on the basketball court. It's got to be Blake Griffin Rookie of the Year. All right, and who's your defensive player right now?
Right now, my defensive player of the year is going to be Dwight Howard. The way this guy defends, the way he blocks shots, the way he comes in, does his help defense. He's just such a defensive presence out there on the basketball court. I'm going to go Dwight Howard.
Yeah, I like Dwight Howard too, but I'm going to go with Kevin Garnett. I just think every time he's off the court, the Celtics seem to give up more points. He's the guy that makes that defense tick. I like KG right now as my defensive player of the year halfway through the year.
All right, and before we go, a quick pick 'em Sunday's NBA game. The Celtics visiting the LA Lakers. How do you see this one?
Well, this is definitely a rematch of last year's NBA Finals. Celtics going back to where they lost the title at just a few months ago. I like Boston though. This team to me is just playing so well. They're so deep. I know the Lakers, they're struggling right now as well. I like Boston to continue on. Rondo and Pierce and all of them. I like Boston to win this game.
Yeah, I agree with you. I've been saying it for a while. I think Boston Celtics all around are the best team in the league. Whether or not they have the best record or not right now, I still think they are the best team. And the LA Lakers have been struggling. And I think Boston, they're so deep they can go anywhere and win. They're a very good road team, and I'm going to pick the Boston Celtics to win this one.
All right, thanks for tuning in, sports fan. I'm Nick Bodkins.
And I'm Craig Koger. Don't forget, check us out on Facebook at BnK Sportstalk, and email all your comments and questions to bnksportstalk@hotmail.com.